Welcome. We're going to get started in like 2 minutes. Just give people a chance to log in, get yourself set up with a mat, props if you have them. Happy birthday, Papa! Happy birthday. Hey, Tasha. Hey, Brian. Welcome. So like 2 minutes, get your mat, blocks, blankets, towels, cat, dog. Winnie always joins. We'll get started in about 2 minutes. Okay, welcome. Hope you all had a fantastic Tuesday. Me and Winnie had a pretty good Tuesday. I hope you've been enjoying the beautiful weather. I'm so happy. So hopefully that sticks around a little bit. This is me, beginners yoga flow. We're gonna do some moving. Maybe work a little bit of our muscles in this practice. Sometimes a practice doesn't have to be really challenging poses, but doesn't mean the practice itself isn't challenging. So, we might be doing some pretty simple types of poses, but Winnie's gonna lay down right here. But, those simple poses can be really challenging when you hold them and when you utilize the right muscles in the pose. It's super easy to do a pose somewhat incorrectly sometimes because your body just wants to do whatever's going to be easiest. So that's what yoga practice is all about. It's about finding what feels right for you. So sometimes doing a pose might not feel right. So that's where we incorporate blocks and props to help you and help our practice. I use props all the time. We all have very different body structures, different body types, and it's all about finding what is best for you. All right, so let's get started. Let's actually start sitting today. So if you do have a prop of some sort, you can use it. So you can sit on your block with it between your ankles, like so. Or you can use that towel that you have or a blanket. And if that's too stressful on your knees, you can sit with your legs crossed in front of you like so. Either sitting on a towel, a block. And again, if you don't have any props at all, that's fine too. So just come to stillness and find your way to a comfortable seated position. And just place your hands right above your knees, palms facing down. And if you are sitting like I am with your knees bent and your shins on the floor, think about pressing your shins slightly down into the floor. And then regardless of how you're sitting, lift up from the sides of your waist. So you're lifting your torso up, but not your shoulders. So think about just lifting up from the sides of your waist. And then gently just draw your shoulder blades, so that's the back part of your shoulders, draw your shoulder blades slightly towards one another. And then think about lifting up from the crown of your head. So pretend like there's a string there and I'm up above you, drawing a string up. Okay, and then keep all of that and slowly close your eyes. And if you don't want to close your eyes, you can keep them half open and just gaze a little like a foot or two in front of you. Just finding stillness in your body. Breathing normally. And bringing your attention and awareness to the breath as it comes in and out through your nose. And then very slowly start to deepen your breathing. Taking long, slow, deep inhalations, followed by long, slow, deep exhalations. And on each inhale, try to get a little bit deeper, filling up more of your body with air, but not allowing it to get too stressful. If it feels too stressful, go back down one notch. Good. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And then open your mouth and sigh it out. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Open your mouth and sigh it out. Good. Place your left hand on your chest where your sternum is. So think about your pointer finger, grazing your collarbone. And then place your right hand on your belly. Your thumb kind of touching your belly button, hand below your belly button. We're going to do a couple rounds of 3-part breathing. So when I count 1, you're going to breathe up into your belly. When I count 2, you're going to breathe up into your ribs. And then when I count 3, you're going to breathe up into your chest. Okay. And then when I count out and you breathe out 1 from your belly, 2 from your ribs, 3 from your chest. Okay. All right. So just breathe normally. Again, eyes can be closed or halfway open. And then exhale all the air out. Exhale, exhale, exhale. And then inhale 1 into your belly, 2 into your ribs, 3 into your chest. Breathe out 1 from your belly, 2 from your ribs, 3 from your chest. Breathe in 1, 2, 3. Breathe out 1, 2, 3. Breathe in 1, 2, 3. Breathe out 1, 2, 3. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, and hold it. Unless you're pregnant or think you are, don't hold your breath. Breathe out 1, 2, 3, and hold it. And one more. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, hold it. Breathe out 1, 2, 3, and hold it. And then take a deep breath in through your nose and breathe out through your nose. One more. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. Good. And then return your hands back to your knees. And then reach your arms out to the sides. Reach your arms out into a T shape. And then just give yourself a hug. Wrapping your arms around each other, and then think about your hands going towards your shoulder blades, but they don't have to touch your shoulder blades. It can be something like this, okay? It doesn't have to be, like you're doing the world's best hug in the world, right? But draw your shoulder blades slightly together and relax your shoulders so you can still breathe. And think about what arm is on top right now. Bring your arms back out to that T shape. Reach your arms slightly back, and then switch the arm that's on top. Same thing. You're starting to draw your hands towards each other on your back, but you're not separating your shoulder blades so much in order to do that. So still draw your shoulder blades together and relax your shoulders. Good. Inhale, reach your arms into the T shape. Reach your fingertips behind you, and then inhale, reach your arms up to the ceiling. And then exhale, side bend to your right. So right arm down, left arm reaches up, reaches over. And then inhale, come back to the center, reach your fingertips up. Exhale, side bend to your left. Right arm reaches up, reaches over. Inhale, come back to the center, grab opposite elbows. So think about your palms in your elbows. And then lift your elbows up towards the ceiling. Good. And then from here, lift up from the sides of your waist, and then exhale, side bend to your right. Inhale to the center, exhale, side bend to your left. Inhale to the center, this time lift up and exhale, twist to your right. So just your upper body twist. And you're probably not going to go that far, and that's fine. Then inhale to the center, exhale, twist to your left. Inhale to the center, exhale, reach your arms up, bring your hands down. and come up into tabletop for a couple cat and cow movements, but let's set ourselves up in tabletop first. So knees are directly underneath your hip bone distance apart. Arms are in one line, wrist, elbow, shoulders. And then untuck your toes and press the tops of your feet down along with your shins. And that will kind of engage your legs and kind of lift them up a little bit. And then press down to all 10 toenails, from your big toe to your baby toe. Spread your fingers. Good. And then scoop your hip bones gently up towards your rib cage. All right, next inhale, start to drop your chest towards the floor. Lengthen your rib cage forward, look up for cow pose. Take your entire exhale around your spine, look toward your belly button for cat pose. Try to go slow. Inhale, lift up, lengthen, then look up. Tailbone lengthens back, then lifts. And then take your entire exhale, push the floor away with your hands as you round your spine, looking toward your belly button. One more time, inhale, lift up, lengthen, look up, and exhale, round. Good. Inhale, come back to a neutral tabletop position. Okay, and keep your spine neutral. So you don't want your lower back, arching and your chest caving down, but you also don't want a roundy spine either. So think about your chest lengthening forward, tailbone lengthening back. And then extend your right leg behind you, coming onto the ball of your right foot, pressing your right thigh up. Keep your hips level with each other so your right hip isn't lifting up higher than your left. Press your right heel towards the back of the room. Okay, and then staying here, lift your left arm up to shoulder height, palm facing in. Reach your left fingertips forward as you press through your right heel. Exhale, come back to tabletop. Extend your left leg back, coming onto the ball of your left foot. And then think about pressing down into the top foot and the shin of your right leg. Good, and then draw and press your left heel back. Keep your left leg straight, so press your front thigh into your back thigh. Then inhale, lift your right arm up to shoulder height, reaching through your right fingertips, and then reaching through your left heel. Keep breathing. And exhale, come back to tabletop. Good. Your next inhale, step your right foot back. Step your left foot back. And then drop your knees down right where they are. So your knees should be behind your hips. Draw your upper arms under. So instead of your elbows sticking out, think about drawing your upper arms in so your elbows point back. Shift your weight forward, lower down to the floor, onto your belly. Hands are by your sides. You can walk your hands slightly back so your wrists and elbows line up. And then just bring your chin to the mat. Press down into the tops of your feet. Your feet should be about hip bone distance apart. Draw your upper arms in towards the middle of your body. And then inhale, lift your chest up for baby cobra. You're not coming up very high. Your bottom ribs are still resting on the floor. And then exhale, release, come down. Inhale, lift up, baby cobra. Again, keep drawing your upper arms in. Gently slide your shoulder blades down your back. And then exhale, release, come down. And one more time, inhale, lift up, baby cobra. Look right past the edge of your mat. Keep pressing down to the tops of your feet and all 10 toes. And then exhale, release, come down. Good. And then inhale, come back up to tabletop. So you do want your knees under your hip bones here. You can tuck your toes under or keep them untucked, your choice. Get your right arm in one line, so your wrist, elbow, shoulders. And then you don't want to lock your elbow out. So if you lock your elbow out and it starts to come forward, then keep a slight bend in your elbow, but lift away from the floor. We're going to come into a shoulder stretch. So on your next inhale, lift your left arm up and look up towards your left hand. And then on your exhale, you're going to thread your left arm under your right through it. Just for thread the needle. All right, so your left arm should be straight, palm facing up towards the ceiling, facing into your right hand for support. And then from here, if you want to start releasing your chest towards the floor, you can. You can bring your chin to the floor. You can just rest your left cheek to the floor. And then from here, only if you want to go further, you can reach your right arm up towards the ceiling and start to look up. If that's too stressful, just keep your left cheek on the ground. Good. Exhale, bring your right hand down. Press into your right hand, slowly press yourself up. Lift your left arm up. And then exhale, place that down. Switching sides. So again, left arm is in one line. Wrist, elbow, shoulder. You're pressing down into your left hand and lifting away from the floor. So instead of sinking down, you're lifting up, right? And then inhale, lift your right arm up, look up to your right hand. And then exhale, thread your right arm through your left. Again, your right palm is flipped up, right arm is straight, left hand is on the floor, just basing, keeping you supported. If you want to start to release your chest towards the floor, you can. If you want to go a little bit deeper, you can reach your left arm up for a slight little twist. And then exhale, place your left hand down, press into your left hand, slowly press yourself back up, reach your right arm up, and exhale, come back to tabletop. Good. On your next inhale, lift your knees up just a couple inches off the floor, and on your exhale, start to lift your hips up and back, coming into downward facing dog. And you can move your feet back a little bit if you want a longer stance, but bend your knees a lot and lift your heels up off the floor. So you're lifting your heels, bending your knees, and then really lifting your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Press down into your hands, draw your upper arms under, and think about when you press down into your hands, you're lifting away from the floor and through your arms at the same time. On your next inhale, slowly walk your hands back to your feet. So try to put the weight in your feet, not so much in your hands as you walk your hands back. Feet are hip bone distance apart. And then inhale, lift up halfway. Place your hands on your shins or your upper thighs. Draw your upper arms in. And exhale, release, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Reach your fingertips up to the ceiling. And exhale, hands down by your sides. All right, come to the top of your mat. We're going to come into mountain pose, Tadasana. Okay, so stand with your feet hip bone distance apart. Lengthen your tailbone down. Lift up from the sides of your waist. Arms are down by your sides. So what you want to do is you want to think about what your shoulders are doing, and you want to roll your shoulders back and then flip your palms forward. So you're not like, squeezing your shoulder blades together, but you're just drawing them towards one another. And that will kind of spread throughout your collarbones. Lift up from the crown of your head. And then on your next inhale, reach your arms up over your head. Breathe in. And exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, place your hands down, step your left foot back. So you're in a lunge. Okay? So what I want you to do here is move your right foot to the right 1 or 2 times. And you always have an option of using those props. So if this feels not so good, you can put those props, those blocks under your hands to frame your right foot. Gives you a little bit of lift, feels really, really nice. Come up onto your fingertips, look up, lengthen your rib forward. Firm your outer right hip in and under, so it's not sticking out. In, under. Press down into your right foot and the ball of your left foot. And think about pressing your left heel back, but it's still lifted up off the floor. Keep breathing for 3, 2, 1. Bring your hands down to the floor. Step your right foot back, so you're in a plank. Okay, so in plank, you can always put your knees down. So plank is a really good position to build some muscle, but it's also really challenging sometimes. So if you get fatigued and tired, just put your knees down right where they are on the floor, so they're behind your hips, and practice here instead. Okay, so press your front thighs into your back thighs so your legs are straight. Press your heels back, lengthen your tailbone toward your heels. And then your next exhale, lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Bend your knees, lift your heels, lift your tailbone. On your next inhale, look to your hands. This time, walk your feet up to meet your hands to the top of your mat. Feet are hip bone distance apart, and then inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head, reach your fingertips up. This time, exhale to chair pose or Utkatasana. So you're going to bend your knees, hips sit back. So you don't want to bring your knees forward. Okay, so you're just bending your knees and your hips come behind you as you sit down into that pretend chair behind you. You should be able to see your toes. So look down If you can't see your toes, shift your weight back a little bit. Press down into your heels. Press your inner thighs in. So pretend like you're holding something between your thighs and you're pressing into that something. Take your arms straight. Okay, inhale, stand up. And then exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. And then exhale, step your right foot back. Come back into that lunge. And move your right foot back a little bit so you have a little bit longer of a stance. And then move your left foot to the left 1 or 2 times. Okay, and then again, you can use blocks under your hands if you need it. But think about drawing your outer left hip in and under so it's not sticking out. Press your right thigh up so it's nice and straight. And then inhale, come up onto your fingertips, look up. Lengthen your ribcage forward. Keep breathing for 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your hands down. Step your left foot back. Come to plank. Pause here for 5, 4. Lift up away from the floor. 3, 2, 1. Drop your knees down right where they are and lower down to your bellies. Good. Okay. And then from here, let's do handstand by your sides. You can bring your chin to the mat and then have your palms pointing in towards each other. So arms are straight, palms pointing in, feet pressing down into the floor. So you untuck your toes, press down to where like your shoelaces are on your shoes, and then press down to your big toe, all the way down to your baby toe. Spread your toes. Okay. Lengthen your tailbone towards your heels. On your next inhale, lengthen your chest forward and lift your head, neck, and chest up off the floor. But just stay here. And you're lifting your shoulders up so they're not falling down. So think about lifting your shoulders up, drawing your shoulder blades together. And then inhale, lift your arms up by your side, just a couple inches. Reach your fingertips back. And then exhale, come down. Bend your elbows, place your hands by your shoulders. Inhale, lift your chest up, baby cobra. And then exhale, release, come down. Inhale, lift up, baby cobra again. Keep drawing your upper arms in and lengthening your tailbone down towards your heels. And exhale, release, come down. Inhale, press yourself up to table tap. Tuck your toes under and exhale, lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Knees are bent, heels are still lifted. That's just so when you go to straighten your legs and bring your heels down, most of us start to round in our lower back in order to do that. So it's better to bend your knees and lift your heels so you can create that space in your lower back and really lift up. Your next inhale, look to your hands and walk to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, sit down to chair pose, Utkatasana. It's my favorite poses because we have a love-hate relationship. So again, press down into your heels, shift your weight slightly back, and you should see your toes. So if your knees are too far forward, make sure you're shifting your weight slightly back. Lift up from the sides of your waist. Arms are straight. You can bring them a little bit forward of your ears, and then maybe sit down a little bit lower. Keep breathing for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, fold over. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, step your left foot back, come into your lunge. Okay, this time, spin your back heel to the floor. So your back foot is on the floor, parallel to the back edge of your mat. And then bring your back toes in slightly, okay? Keep a bend in your right knee over your ankle. Keep your left leg straight, and then your next inhale, windmill your arms up and around to warrior 2, Virabhadrasana 2. And turn around. Okay, so your left leg is straight, right knee is bent. Pressing your left thigh back, sinking down into your right knee, but not letting your right knee go past your ankle. Lifting up from the sides of your waist, rib cage is squaring towards the front, reaching your fingertips away from each other. Look back at your back arm, make sure it's in line with your front arm, and then gaze over your right middle finger. Good. And then from here, while you hold this, because that is the challenge, you can always straighten your front leg if you need to. So what happens here a lot of times is we stop using the muscles needed to keep our knee straight. So our knee starts to cave in, like so. So to get your knee to go straight, you want to press your inner right thigh to the right as you draw your right buttock under you. So you're pushing it to the right, drawing your right buttock under. And that will keep your knee going straight over your second and third toe. Keep breathing. And then your next inhale, straighten your right leg, reach your arms up, breathe in. And exhale, warrior two. Inhale, straighten, reach your arms up. And exhale, warrior two. Okay, so keep doing that same action with your inner right thigh going to the right, drawing your right buttock under. As you flip your front palm, come to reverse warrior. Reach your right arm up and then start to reach it back. Both arms are still straight. Sink down a little bit further into that right knee. And then exhale, come back up to warrior two. Inhale, stay here. And then exhale, place your hands down to frame your right foot. Step your right foot back. And then exhale, downward facing dog. If you need to take a rest, to child's pose. Bring your knees down, your hips back, arms forward, forehead on the floor, or on a block, or on a blanket. If you also want to bring your arms down by your sides, you can do that too. You can come here at any point in time as you need it. Take a few more breaths here. And if you're in child's pose, just come back whenever you're ready. Look to your hands. On your next inhale, walk your feet up to your hands. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head, reach your fingertips up. Exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Slight bend in your knees when you fold over. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. And then exhale, step your right foot back. Before I tell you the wrong side, spin your back heel down to the floor. So your right foot completely on the floor. And then just bring your right toes in slightly so they're angled up towards the front corner of your mat. Draw your left buttock under. Okay, so your left hip doesn't stick out. Left knee over your left ankle. Keep bending into that knee as you inhale, reach your arms up, coming into warrior two. Good. Okay, sink down a little bit more. So I'm just going to show you some common misalignments because I can't see you, so I don't know what it looks like. So one thing that happens is your knee goes way past your ankle, okay? That's really challenging for me to even do, and it causes some pain if you keep doing it that way. So you want to make your stance a little bit longer. That's the case. And then sink down a little bit so that way your left knee lines up with your left ankle. Reach your fingertips away from each other. So the other thing that happens is people kind of have like these spaghetti arms, you know? So think about reaching away. So reach your fingertips away from each other. Think a little bit more. Press your right thigh back. Keep breathing. Press down into your left heel. And then your next inhale, straighten your front leg, reach your arms up, breathe in. And exhale, warrior two. Inhale, straighten, reach your arms up. And exhale, warrior two. Inhale, flip your front palm, come to reverse warrior. Reach your left arm up and then reach it back. So don't let your left knee cave in because a lot of times that happens here. So sink down a little bit more into your left knee. Press your inner left thigh to the left. Press your right thigh back. And then exhale up to warrior two. Inhale. And then exhale, place your hands under frame your left foot. Step your left foot back. Exhale, downward facing dog. And again, you can always go to child's pose if you need it. Good. On your next inhale, lift your right leg up behind you to hip height. Flex your foot and get your toes to point down. So your toes are going to naturally want to go out. So to get them to point down, take your inner right thigh and start to draw it up towards the ceiling. Good. Keep breathing. And then on your next exhale, start to shift your weight forward. Bring your knee into your chest. Inhale, extend your leg back, three-legged dog. Exhale, place your foot down, downward facing dog. And then come into child's pose. Knees down, hips back, arms out in front of you. Again, you can use your props however you like. If you have any kind of knee pain, you can roll up a towel and put it behind your knees. So you're not like going down as far. On your next inhale, reach your arms out in front of you. Look up to your hands and make sure they're about shoulder distance apart. And then inhale, press yourself up to tabletop. Tuck your toes under and exhale, lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Look to your hands. On your next inhale, walk your feet to your hands. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head, reach your fingertips up. And exhale, hands down by your sides. Okay, so now we're going to do some movement, okay? So this is going to be a mixture of balance and strength building. So, you can always modify, okay? All right, so just stand in Tadasana, arms down by your sides, palms flip forward. And then your next inhale, reach your arms up over your head, breathe in. And exhale, sit down to chair pose, Utkatasana. Press down into your left foot. On your next inhale, straighten your left leg and lift your right leg up. Knee bent, right foot flexed. Okay, on your exhale, go right back into chair pose. So bend your left knee, right knee stays bent, sit back. Switch sides. Press into your right foot. Inhale, lift up. Straighten your right leg, left knee bent, foot flexed. Exhale, chair pose. One more each side. Press into your left foot. Inhale, straighten your left leg, lift your right knee up. Keep your torso lifted. Keep your arms straight. Exhale, chair pose. Switch sides. Right foot down, left foot up. Straighten your left leg, left knee bent. Good. Exhale, chair pose. Breathe. Lengthen your tailbone towards the floor. Breathe for 3, 2, 1. Exhale, fold over. Good. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, step your feet back to plank. And then exhale, lift your hips up and back. Downward facing dog. Keep drawing your upper arms under. And then again, slight bend in your knees and you're lifting away from the floor, all the way up through your shoulders, all the way up your spine through your tailbone. On your next inhale, lift your left leg up behind you to hip height. Toes point down, foot flexed, heel pressing back, legs straight. Keep breathing. And then on your exhale, bring your knee into your chest. Use your core to shift your weight forward and bring your knee up. Inhale, extend your leg back. And then exhale, place your foot down, downward facing dog. Good. Okay. Inhale, slowly walk your hands back to your feet. Hands back to feet. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reach your arms out to the sides. Reach your arms up over your head. Exhale, hands down by your sides. Okay, come to like the middle of your mat. And then separate your feet. I mean, they're wide-ish, but not like crazy wide. And then turn your toes out slightly. Good. Bend your elbows. So I'm going to do something where we bring our arms back. For just now, keep your elbows in line with your wrists and your shoulders. Okay. Keep lifting up through your torso and then exhale, sit down to goddess pose. Okay, so it's kind of like sitting in chair, but your legs are apart in external rotation. So you're pressing your inner thighs back, making it so that your knees are tracking over your second and third toe, tailbone lengthening down. Keep breathing. Then inhale, straighten, reach your arms up. And exhale, come back to goddess. Inhale, straighten, reach your arms up. And exhale, goddess. Inhale, lift up. Now maybe your arms go behind you, doing a very slight back bend. Okay, and then come back to the center, reach your arms up, breathe in. And exhale one more time to goddess. We're gonna hold it. If you need to come out of it, that's fine. Just hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Pause. Lift your left heel up off the floor. Exhale, put that down. Lift your right heel up off the floor. Exhale, put that down for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, stand straight up. Reach your arms up. And then exhale, bring your arms down. Your feet in. Okay, now up to the top of your mat. I told you I was gonna work the muscles a little bit today, okay? So come to Tadasana at the top of your mat. Pressing down to all four corners of your feet, lifting your torso up. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head, breathe in. And exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen. Exhale, step your feet back to plank. Drop your knees down right where they are. And then draw your upper arms in, lower down to the floor. Okay, this time, untuck your toes and press the tops of your feet down. You're going to bring your arms in front of you. So like you're going to bring one hand on top of the other. It doesn't matter which hand. Okay, and you're going to bring your forehead to the back of your hand, whichever one's on top. Okay, so what I want you to do is lengthen your tailbone toward your heels. That's just so your tailbone doesn't lift up and arch into your lower back. So lengthen your tailbone down, creating that space. Really press down into the tops of your feet. And then on your next inhale, you're going to lengthen your chest forward, lift your arms, head, neck, and your chest up off the floor. Doesn't have to come up very high. You're probably not going to come up very high, and that's fine. Keep breathing. Keep pressing down to the tops of your feet. And then exhale, slowly lower down. Take just a breath or two here. Okay, we're going to do it one more time. Press down to the tops of your feet. Inhale, lift your head, neck, and chest up with your arms. Keep breathing. And then exhale, slowly come down. Good. Release your arms. You can bring them down by your sides. Turn one cheek to one side. Take a little breather here. Good. Inhale, come back to the center. Bring your chin to the mat. We're going to come into Sphinx pose. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to come up to your forearms. So you're on your forearms. Your hands are pressing down into the floor. And then you want your wrists and elbows and shoulders to line up. So they're making like an L shape. And then press down to the tops of your feet. So your kneecaps will lift up off the floor. So the one thing you don't want to do is just let your lower back round. Okay, so and sink down into your shoulders. So you're lifting away from the floor with your arms and lifting your chest up at the same time. And then lengthening your tailbone toward your heels. So that way you're creating space in your lower back. And just breathe here. Okay, and then from here, option 1, stay here. Option 2, bend your right knee. And then exhale, put that down. And inhale, bend your left knee. Keep lifting up away from the floor with your arms, don't start to sink down. Then exhale, put that down. Okay, this time, inhale, extend your right arm out in front of you straight. And you can always just stay in Sphinx if you need to. Okay, exhale, come back. And inhale, extend your left arm out straight. Keep lifting up. And then exhale, come back. And slowly lower down. Arms down by your sides. Turn your other cheek to the other side. And then inhale, come back to the center. Bend your elbows. Place your hands by your shoulders. Inhale, slowly press yourself up to tabletop. Do not go to child's pose yet. Tuck your toes under and exhale, lift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. Your next inhale, look to your hands and walk or step to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift up, halfway lengthen, Ardha Uttanasana. And exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, reach your arms up over your head, Urdhva Hastasana. And then exhale one more time, sit down the chair pose, Utkatasana. I promise last time. Okay. From here, press down into your left foot, lift your right leg up, straighten your left leg. Turn your right leg out from the hip socket so your foot points in, knee points out. And then place your right foot on your calf for tree pose. You can always bring your hands down to heart center. If you're wobbly and this isn't working for you, you can bring your right toes to the floor. Firm your hips in, especially your left hip. You don't want your left hip sticking out. So firm everything in, lift up from the sides of your waist. Good, and then from here, bring your right knee to the center, flex your foot, and exhale, bring everything down. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, sit down. Then inhale, straighten your right leg, lift your left knee up, flex your left foot. Turn your left leg out from the hip socket, and then place your foot on your calf for tree pose. And again, if this just is not working, you can always bring your toes down. Kind of acts like a little kickstand. You can always bring your arms down, hands to heart center. That works better for you as well. Keep lifting up from the sides of your waist, pressing down into your right foot. And then inhale, bring your left leg, left knee to the center. And exhale, bring everything down. Good. We're just going to go right down to the floor. So you're going to sit down. So if you do have props, I want you to grab them. So if you have blocks, grab your blocks. If you have a towel and no blocks, you can use that towel by just folding it up a few times, making sure that it's somewhat even with all the edges. So if you just have a towel, you can take it and just fold it, a few times. Either something like this or maybe one level up like this. So you have some sort of lift that will take place of that block. So come down to your backs, bend your knees and place your feet on the floor. Okay, so we're gonna do a couple bridges. So an option here, if you have back issues, pain, or are just tired and don't feel like doing a bridge, this is where your props come in really helpful. So option one is to take a block or something that resembles a block and sliding it underneath of your sacrum, which is by your tailbone, okay? And you're thinking about your tailbone lengthening down, so that way you have some space down there. The other option, if you don't have a block, is to take that towel that you folded and place that under your sacrum, and then come down. Feels really nice. It's a version of supported bridge pose. If you have your blocks and you would like to do bridge, I would recommend that you place one at the narrow width in between your upper thighs, and you don't have to do anything with the other one right now. You don't have any props at all, totally cool, don't need them. If you're going up into a bridge, just imagine that block being between your thighs and you're pressing your thighs into the block, and think about the block rotating towards the floor. Arms down by your sides, press down to all four corners of your feet. Okay, so big toe mound, small toe mound, two corners of your heel. On your next inhale, start to tilt your tailbone up towards the backs of your knees, Okay, so you're tilting your tailbone towards the backs of your knees, and then slowly start to lift your hips, lift your ribs, and lift your chest. Still lengthening your tailbone down. I just say that because you don't want your tailbone staying pointing down, because then you've got a lot of crunchiness in your lower back. Press down into your feet, but especially your heels. And then press your arms down and think about your chest going towards your chin. Take a few breaths here. You can always come down. You don't need to stay up. Keep pressing your heels down, pressing your back ribs into your front ribs, drawing your thighs towards each other. Now your next exhale, slowly release and come down one vertebrae at a time. Tailbone last thing to touch the floor. Good. Bring your feet to the outer edges of your mat and then just knock your knees into touch. Taking a few breaths here in constructive rest pose. And then from here, go ahead and bring your feet back in to about hip bone distance apart. We're going to do one more bridge. If you're completely over it, grab a block, grab that towel, or just kind of rest in this position. Or you can put that block or towel underneath your sacrum. Arms down by your sides. Press your arms down. Think about your shoulders pressing down into the floor. Press your feet down. On your next inhale, start to tilt your tailbone up towards the backs of your knees, and then slowly lifting your hips, your ribs, your chest, all the way up to your shoulders. Continuing to lengthening your tailbone towards the backs of your knees, drawing your thighs in. Keep pressing your heels down, pressing your back ribs into your front ribs. Drawing your thighs towards the floor. Continuing to lengthening your tailbone towards the backs of your knees,
pressing your back ribs into your front ribs as you press your arms down into the floor. If you want to roll your shoulders under you a little bit just to get your chest to open up a little bit more, you can do that as well. Breathe here for 5, 4, for 3, for 2, and for 1. Slowly release. Roll yourself down one vertebrae at a time. And then when you come all the way down, walk your feet to the outer edges of your mat. This time, bring your arms out into a T shape. And then very slowly, as slow as you can possibly go, just start to drop your knees very slowly to the right. So your feet are separated, knees are separated, going to the right. And very slowly come to the center. Think about sloth mentality, one of my favorite animals. And then very slowly exhale, knees drop to the left. Be a sloth. Inhale, come back up to the center. And exhale, drop your knees to the right. Good, we're gonna stay here for a moment. Option 1, just stay here with your knees the way they are. Option 2 makes it a little bit more intense, so just be aware of that. You're gonna pick up your right foot, bring it over top of your left knee. And it's kind of like a self-assist, bringing your left knee down more. Good, exhale, release your right foot to the floor. Inhale, slowly come back to the center. And then exhale, drop your knees to the left. Pausing here. And then option 1, just stay here because this is great. Or if you want to give yourself a self-assist and go a little bit deeper, you're going to pick up your left foot and place it over top of your right knee. And exhale, release your left foot to the floor. Inhale, slowly come back to the center. Good, walk your feet into hip bone distance apart. And then just slowly roll over to any side and press yourself up to sitting. And then from here, bring your feet together. Knees go out for Baddha Konasana. Some people call this butterfly, but it's Baddha Konasana or bound angle pose. So you want to make sure that your big toe mounds and small toe mounds are pressing into each other. And then just bring your hands right above your ankles to your shins and lift your torso up. Ground your sit bones down like your butt bones. And as you lift up, start to come forward. So at first, keep your spine long until you can't go forward anymore. Then you can go ahead and round over. And then inhale, slowly come up. Okay, and then from here, we are going to do pigeon. Bring your hands to the outside of your knees. Use your hands to press your knees up. So it's really good to have props in pigeon. So if you do have those blocks or blanket or a towel, what you're going to do with that towel is kind of roll it up. And I'll show you what you can do with it in a second. If you don't have props and pigeon is really stressful, which we'll find out in 1 second, I'll show you another thing you can do. Okay, that's similar to pigeon, but not pigeon. Okay, so have a towel or a block nearby. We're going to get into this from, let's do from tabletop. Let's try it from tabletop. So you're in a tabletop position, and what you're going to do is you're going to step your right foot forward. Okay, and then you're going to start to walk your right foot to the left side of your mat, so it's on the other side. Okay, now what I want you to do is lift your back leg up and start to draw your back leg back so it's straight. And then you're going to bring your front leg down, bent, and your back leg straight. So what happens here is a lot of like this, where you have a lot of space under your right hip and you can't freely balance. you're supposed to have a little bit of space. You should lift up a little bit. You see what just happened there? So here I'm sinking down, I'm going into my joints, you know, but if I lift up a little bit, I'm creating space and using the muscle to contain myself, okay? However, if you can't balance here, then this is where your props come in. Personally, I really like the towel as a roll because then you kind of conform it to fit in that space. Or you can take your block and place your block under your hip like so, okay? But you should feel supported enough, whether it's from your own body or from a prop, to feel like you can balance, okay? If that is not working at all and you do not have any props, come down to your back. So you're going to do thread the needle, where you place your right ankle over your left knee and draw your left knee in. So you're essentially doing that same thing with your right leg, just without, you know, all the tension and struggle, because life is already a struggle. We don't need any more of that. All right, so front leg is bent. I like to have my heel a little bit in towards my left hip and then look back at your back leg. And I like to pick it up, kind of lengthen it back, then untuck my toes and make sure that it's in one straight line, okay? Hands are down, giving your fingertips, lifting your chest up. Okay, so option one, stay here. You have your props under your right hip maybe, or you're doing thread the needle on your back. Okay, option two, if you're in pigeon and you feel good about it, you're gonna come down. So think about your chest going forward first, coming down to your forearms. And then if you want to come down a little bit more, you can bring your forehead to your forearms, or you can bring your arms down in front of you and bring your forehead down to the floor. It's okay if you don't do that though. Maybe that just doesn't feel good today. You can stay sitting up too. We'll stay here for a few breaths, about 15, 20 seconds. And if you are down and you start to feel tension or any kind of pain, just come out of it. You don't have to stay in it that long. Good, your nice inhale. If you are on the floor, slowly walk your hands back, come up to sitting. If you are in thread the needle, just place your right foot to the floor and pause there for a moment. If you're in pigeon, tuck your back toes under and lift your back leg up off the floor. Press into your hands, slowly step back. Step your right foot back so you're in a downward facing dog. Good, and then come forward to tabletop. And we're gonna switch sides. Step your left foot forward. And then start to walk your left foot over to the right side of your mat. And then from here, when your foot's all the way over, you're going to pick up your back leg, start to scoot your back leg back so it's straight, and then come down. If you are in thread the needle on your back, go ahead and place your left ankle over top your right knee and draw your right knee in. If you need to adjust yourself with props, now is your time to do so. So you can put that rolled up towel underneath of your left hip, block underneath your left hip just to prop you up. And if you aren't on anything, look back at your left leg, make sure it's straight for one. And you want to think about lifting up a little bit and engaging everything so everything can firm in and lift up. Okay, so get yourself situated. Again, you can bring your right heel in. Sorry, that's my left heel. Your left heel in towards your right hip a little bit. If you want it a little bit forward, you can. I personally don't think that feels good for my own body. But some people like that. Just make sure your left leg is straight. Your toes are reaching back, so they're not going in or going out. And then inhale, lift your chest up. And option one is totally cool to stay here, or you're going to come down to your forearms. And then you can do whatever you want here. You can bring your forehead to your forearms, arms out in front of you, forehead down. But again, you can always just stay lifting up. And again, we'll stay here for a few breaths, about 15 to 20 seconds. And if you start to feel uncomfortable or in any kind of pain, slowly come out. But very slowly, come up, lifting your chest up wherever you are. If you're in thread the needle on your back, just place your left foot to the floor and pause there for a moment. If you are in pigeon pose, tuck your back toes under, lift your back leg up, press into your hands, slowly lift up, step back to downward facing dog. And then from here, we're going to drop your knees to the floor. If you are on your back, go ahead and roll over to one side and press yourself up to sitting. So everyone should be seated. All right, last thing we're going to do, just come to a seated position, however you would like to sit, cross-legged or on your shins. We're just going to do one more thing with our arms. We're going to do Garudasana, or eagle arms. So bring your arms out into a T shape, and then we're going to start with our right arm underneath our left. So what you're going to do is your right arm is going to come underneath your left, and you're going to twist your arms around each other, trying to get palm to touch. That might not be a thing, and that's fine too, right? So if you want to bring the backs of your hands together, you can, or just kind of hold your elbows like so. Okay, if you have any kind of shoulder injuries or elbow injuries, it might be best to do something like this. If you're here, think about what your elbows are doing. You want to lift your elbows up so your triceps are parallel to the floor. Lift your torso up and draw your shoulder blades towards each other. And look straight ahead. Okay, from here, inhale, reach your arms onto a T shape. Exhale, switch arms. So left arm underneath your right. And you're going to twist your arms around, trying to get palm to palm. Again, that just might not be a thing. So you can always bring the backs of your hands together or just switch the position of your arms doing this. Lift your elbows up. Think about your elbows going forward, but still drawing your shoulder blades together. Looking straight ahead, which is probably at your forearms. Inhale, reach your arms onto a T shape, reach your arms up to the ceiling, and then exhale, side bend to your right. So right arm down, left arm reaches up, reaches over. Inhale to the center, exhale, side bend to your left, left hand down, right arm reaches up and over. Inhale, come to the center, and exhale, place your hands down. Slowly come down to your backs. You can finish in any pose you like. I personally just love finishing in happy baby pose or doing my last stretch. You can do whatever you like. If you want to do thread the needle, if you didn't do it before, whatever stretch feels good for you. If you're doing happy baby pose, you're going to grab the outer feet, inner feet, big toes, behind your thighs, wherever you can grab that feels good. And then your knees and thighs are right to the outside of your ribs, but they're still drawing in. Feet are parallel to the ceiling. Elbows can be inside or outside. And then from here, pressing your sacrum down into the floor, maybe rocking side to side. And then when you're ready, you're just going to get yourself set up for Shavasana, our final rest pose. So as you get ready, I can give you some ideas on things you can do in Shavasana. One thing you can do is put that rolled up towel underneath your knees, like so. Personally, I would probably use 2 towels so you can separate your legs a little bit. You can also put blocks under your knees, the lowest height. That feels good. It's really good for your lower back. You can do legs up the wall. If you are near a wall, you can do legs up the wall with your legs up the wall. Like so. Pretend like there's a wall here. Arms down by your sides. There's some options for you, but just find stillness wherever you are. Separate your legs a little bit wider than hip bone distance apart. Allow your feet to hang open. Allow your arms to relax. Allow your fingers to curl naturally. Close your eyes. Start to find stillness in your body. Just bring your awareness to the parts of your body that are touching the floor. Starting with your feet, working your way up. Allowing your body to be supported by the floor. Feeling your weight pressing down. Allowing your body to relax. And slowly start to deepen your breathing. Just wiggle your fingers and your toes, and maybe do some circles with your wrists and your ankles. Maybe going the other direction. And then very slowly roll over to any side and pause there for a moment. And using your top hand, slowly press yourself up to sitting and come to any comfortable seated position you like. And once you're there, bring your hands together to heart center and close your eyes. The lights and love in me acknowledges and honors the lights and love in every one of you. And we bow to complete our practice. Thank you. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing with me today on this Tuesday, Cinco de Mayo. Totally forgot to say happy Cinco de Mayo. Hope you all have some plans tonight, maybe some Mexican takeout. But I hope you all enjoy your night. I will be back Saturday morning at 10 a.m. So message me if you have any questions. Otherwise, have a wonderful week, and I will see you soon. Namaste. Miss you all.